Hey there, my name is Katie. I learned English all the way to the C2 level completely by myself and then became an English teacher. In this video, I want to share everything with you so you can do the same. Look, reaching C2 means having a complete command of the English language, like having a core understanding of English, mastering the key skills like pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So today, I'm going to share with you how I exactly improved each of these skills, how you can improve them step by step, and I'm going to share with you the best materials and resources for building each skills. So let's do it. I actually started my English journey when I was 17. I wanted to understand people, have conversations with them, express my thoughts and my ideas. So I started searching for a way to learn English completely by myself. And that's when I found a video course called English for You. That course helped me build my foundation. I learned the basics of how English works, how to conjugate verbs, how to ask questions, how to put words together to create a simple sentence and express my idea. Now, if you're still at the beginning and you want to have a core understanding of English, which is really important to reach that C2 level, this is where I'd start. You can go for one of these two courses. Both of them are completely free. They'll teach you the basic structure of English. The only question you need to ask yourself is whether you want to study American English or British English, which is really crucial to make this choice on your English journey, especially at the beginning of your English journey. And I'm going to talk more about it in the next part on pronunciation. So pick one, American or British, and stick with it. But here's the key. By the time your English is at B1 or B2 level, you don't need to take classes or courses anymore. At that point, you'll improve faster by focusing on your skills, like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You see, courses give you the foundation, but skills take you to the next level. And don't worry, as we go, I'm going to share with you the best resources to improve each skill. As you probably know, we have American English, British English, Australian English, and many others. But English is not pronounced the same everywhere. Take this word, for example. In American English, you'll hear schedule, schedule. But in British English, you hear schedule, schedule. One more example. Look at this word. Americans say tomato, tomato. But British speakers say tomato, tomato. Can you hear the difference? Same language, same words, same spelling, but completely different sounds. So whenever you learn a new word, but you're not sure how to pronounce it, check it in a dictionary. My favorite one is Cambridge Dictionary. Type in the word and you'll see both the UK and the US pronunciations. Click here to listen to it. Look, this is crucial. There's one decision you need to make, which kind of English you're gonna learn. And this is something that I really wish someone had told me before. When I was learning English, I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to learn English. If the American pronunciation was difficult, I'd use the British one. If the British pronunciation felt awkward, I'd use the American one. And honestly, I didn't realize how much that was affecting me until I took a speaking exam. And that's when it finally caught up with me. I lost quite a few points. You see, when you have mixed pronunciation, people will understand you. But if you're planning to take a speaking exam like the TOEFL or IELTS, a mixed pronunciation is definitely going to affect your score and cost you points. So what I did, I decided to focus on American English. And one of the resources that helped me the most was a YouTube channel called Rachel's English. I absolutely love this channel. It opened the door for me to American pronunciation and connected speech. Honestly, I think of Rachel's English as a free pronunciation course. And I highly recommend it if you're learning American English. And if you've decided to learn British English, don't worry. I've got a great resource for you too. I'll put both resources in the description so that you can check them out and start practicing right away. If you want to speak English fluently and reach that high level, I mean C2, you need a strong vocabulary. And I don't just mean memorizing individual words. You also need useful phrases and expressions. The thing that actually people use in real conversations. But let me be honest with you. I used to think I was terrible at vocabulary. And I'm pretty sure you're feeling the same because this is a very common struggle among English learners. You might ask yourself, why do I forget words so quickly? Why do I know hundreds of words, but when I'm speaking, I can't use them? Why does it feel impossible to learn all the words that I need? And then you start thinking, maybe I'm not good at learning vocabulary. The problem is not your memory. It's not your ability to learn a language. The problem is the way you learn vocabulary. You see, you study a new word. You study the definition, hopefully not in your native language. You make a long list of vocabulary and then move on. Can you see what you're doing wrong? This way, you learn vocabulary passively. So definitely, you'll forget them quickly because your brain hasn't built strong connection to quickly find and use that word when you're speaking. If you want to build a strong vocabulary and actually use the words in real conversations, you need to develop your active vocabulary. How to do that? The first key is spaced repetition. What is spaced repetition? Instead of learning a word once and never seeing it again, you review it at the right moments again and again. For example, imagine you learned a new word today. You review it after 3 days, then after a week, then after 2 weeks, and later after 1 month. Each time you review it, the connection in your brain becomes stronger and the word becomes easier to remember. And luckily today, you can make this process much easier with flashcards. My favorite tool is Anki. It's free on your phone and your computer. So download Anki and study with spaced repetition. Let's talk about the most confusing part of English, grammar. Grammar used to get on my nerves. Back then, I couldn't figure out why people in everyday life, like when I was watching a movie or reading a book, they use certain structures. For example, I couldn't understand why people sometimes say, "Did you eat?" And the other time they say, "Have you eaten?" I couldn't get it. What helped me to understand these patterns and differences was studying grammar. I bought a grammar book, and that's where everything clicked. Now, if you want to really understand English grammar and go beyond the basic rules, one of my favorite resources is The Infographic Guide to Grammar. I really love this book because it uses graphics to explain everything. And honestly, it makes grammar less intimidating and much easier to understand. You see, when you study grammar, first you learn the rules consciously. Then when you hear or see that grammar in context, you recognize it faster, and eventually it starts to feel natural. Think of it like this. Grammar study gives you the map, but practice and exposure like listening and reading teaches you how to drive. Listening is arguably one of the most important skills for anyone who's learning English because it's the key to understanding how English is actually used in real world. You see, you can study grammar, study vocabulary, but what makes it stronger in your memory is repeated exposure. When you hear words used in conversations, shows, or stories, your brain connects the meaning, tone, and situation. And that makes it much easier for you to remember how words are actually used. And when it's easier to remember, you'll pick up on those patterns. Now, what kind of listening material should you use? Comprehensible input. You can jump straight into TV shows and movies, but if you can barely understand anything, you're just making the process unnecessarily difficult and wasting your time. Listening is like a training muscle. You can't walk into a gym and start with the heaviest weight. You need to start at the right level and gradually challenge yourself. I recommend starting with podcasts. Choose one based on the type of English you want to learn, British or American. First, American. For beginner to pre-intermediate, try VOA Learning English. It's great because they speak slowly and use simpler vocabulary, so it's a great place to start. For intermediate, check out American Learning English. It covers useful topics, everyday expressions, and slang. For advanced, try Radiolab. It's more challenging, but it can really push your listening skills and expose you to more natural and complex English. For British English, I'll leave some podcast recommendations in the description box, but make sure to listen effectively. So whenever you hear a word or phrase that you don't know, look it up in an English-only dictionary. There are plenty of great ones, including Cambridge, Oxford, and Merriam-Webster. Look, I became fluent in English without ever living in an English-speaking country and without having someone to speak English with. So, do not use this as an excuse for not practicing speaking. I got you 3 exercises that you can practice and start your English fluency right away. The first exercise is shadowing. It's super effective. I made a video where I explained everything about shadowing and the 3 types of shadowing. So if you don't know how to shadow, the link is in the description box. The second exercise, narrate your thoughts in English. So describe everything you're feeling, thinking, or doing in English. For example, I'm happy because I'm gonna see my friend. Oh, there's a cloud. What if it rains? I'm gonna take my umbrella. And the third exercise, ask yourself some personal questions and answer them right away, as if you're in a real English conversation and someone has just asked you that question. Like, what do you do on your weekends? Now, the question is, where to get those questions? Well, you can Google them, but my favorite resources use questions from the IELTS speaking test. So ask yourself a question and talk about it out loud immediately. You see, the key is to answer immediately without overthinking. It trains you to respond and think quickly in real English conversations. So as you can see, you don't need to live abroad or have a language partner to improve your speaking. You just need intentional and consistent practice. Reading is a powerful way to learn English. Let's see what reading is particularly good for. Vocabulary. You encounter words repeatedly in different contexts. Grammar. You naturally notice how sentences are structured. Collocations. You learn which words commonly go together. Writing. You observe sentence patterns and natural phrasing. Comprehension. You become faster at processing English. Wow! So get into the habit of reading in English. You see, I've always loved reading in bed. It's such a relaxing way to end your day. So one day I thought, why not read in English? And I did it. It was so effective. I enjoyed it. When it comes to choosing a book, I can't give you one specific recommendation because you need to read whatever interests you. Actually, I made a video where I share my top 7 books that I really enjoyed. I'll put the link in the description box so you can check it out. But what if you can't understand a full-length novel yet? Don't worry, start with children's book or simple stories. They're easier to understand. And as you read more, your vocabulary and your reading comprehension will naturally improve. The important thing is to find something that you really enjoy, right? And make reading in English a habit. You can write about everything you like. You can write about yourself, about your marriage, your struggle, your feeling. You can write about mountains, rivers, anything that you like, and then give it to ChatGPT to correct it and polish it. Then ChatGPT gives you the polished version of your writing, and that's how you'll improve your writing skills. The more you write, the better you'll become at writing. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Keep practicing to improve your skills and reach that C2 level. Alright, I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.